What if one man had the power to make royalty nervous, silence prosecutors, and vanish evidence? What if his crimes were only part of the story, and his real value wasn't in what he did, but in what he knew? Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, but the mystery didn't, because what came next wasn't a trial or a reckoning. It was a vacuum, a void filled with speculation, suspicion, and a question whispered in boardrooms, bunkers, and message boards alike. Was Epstein part of something much bigger? Tonight, on the Midnight Mystery Archive, we return to one of the darkest and most deeply tangled cases in modern memory, not to relive the crimes, but to investigate the legacy, the alleged intelligence ties, the whispers of blackmail, and the shadow network that may never see daylight. This is part two of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Jeffrey Epstein moved in circles that didn't make sense. He had no college degree, no publicly traceable empire, no hedge fund that anyone could actually find. And yet, he amassed a fortune, a private island, a jet, and a guest list that read like a geopolitical yearbook. Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Ehud Barak, Les Wexner, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Alan Dershowitz, and behind closed doors, whispers of more. How? That question has fueled speculation for years. Theories range from calculated manipulation to something far more shadowy. Here's where the conspiracy deepens. According to multiple investigative journalists, at least two former intelligence officials, Epstein may have operated not just as a predator, but as an asset. The theory goes like this. Epstein cultivated relationships with powerful men. He lured them into compromising situations. Those situations were recorded, video, photos, documents, and those materials could be used as leverage. Blackmail? Possible. Intelligence gathering? Maybe. Protection in exchange for silence? It wouldn't be the first time. Some point to his ties to Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, himself long rumored to have been linked to Mossad, MI6, and Soviet intelligence. Others cite Epstein's uncanny ability to avoid consequence, even after overwhelming evidence, something that doesn't usually happen without protection. And then there's the question of where his money came from. Epstein claimed to manage billions, yet no one, not even Wall Street insiders, could name a single client. His only confirmed long-term financial patron, Les Wexner, founder of L Brands and former owner of Victoria's Secret. Wexner handed over extraordinary control of his finances to Epstein, including the power of attorney. Why? That's never been explained, and Wexner has distanced himself ever since. Add to that a paper trail full of shell companies, offshore accounts, and donations routed through shadowy nonprofits, and you get the sense that Epstein wasn't just rich, he was shielded. Epstein didn't just know people, he curated them. Private dinners, elite conferences, philanthropic science gatherings with Nobel Prize winners and venture capitalists. To some, this was just the behavior of a manipulative social climber. To others, it looked like strategic grooming, not of victims, but of influence itself. Because in Epstein's world, the higher you rose, the more you had to lose. And someone, somewhere, always knew what you did. At 6:30 a.m. on August 10, 2019, staff at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York entered cell 18. Inside, they found Jeffrey Epstein unresponsive. Within hours, the news of his death and apparent suicide had spread across the world. Within days, no one believed it. In fact, probably within minutes, no one believed it. According to the official narrative, Epstein hanged himself using a bedsheet, He tied the sheet to the top bunk and leaned forward. The ligature mark was consistent with suicide. A hyoid bone fracture, although present, was within statistical possibility for hanging, especially in older men. The guards had failed to check on him due to overwork and fatigue. Surveillance cameras outside his cell malfunctioned. His cellmate had been removed the night before. The ruling? Death by suicide. Case closed, except almost no one accepted it. Dr. Michael Baden, a well-known forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's brother, performed an independent autopsy review. He stated, "In over 50 years of examining hanging deaths, I've rarely seen this type of fracture. It's more consistent with manual strangulation. That fracture, the hyoid bone, is rare in suicide by hanging, especially the kind Epstein allegedly carried out, leaning forward from a bunk. Combined with the other anomalies, it was enough to ignite suspicions everywhere." Both guards on duty claimed they fell asleep and falsified records. Surveillance footage from Epstein's previous cell, where he had allegedly attempted suicide weeks earlier, was lost. Footage from the night of his death was accidentally destroyed. One camera outside his final cell glitched and went offline. We're told this was just all a coincidence, but in one of the most high-profile federal custody cases in modern U.S. history, that stretches belief. And when the two guards were charged, not for conspiracy, but for falsifying records, both received slap-on-the-wrist plea deals. No jail time, no cross-examination, no deeper investigation. If Epstein was murdered, who had the motive? Victims say he hinted at a trove of compromat, secret recordings of powerful people. Investigators believed he had information that could lead to other arrests. He was denied bail, meaning he would remain in federal custody, possibly cooperating. There are theories, many of them, that point in every direction. U.S. intelligence, foreign governments, billionaire associates, political elites. No evidence has confirmed any of these. But when all oversight failed at once, when every safeguard fell apart, when no one was ever held accountable, it wasn't just a death. It was a signal, a warning, perhaps, that some truths never reach daylight. For years, it was the heartbeat of the Epstein mystery. Where is the list? People believed there had to be one. A roster of names of men who flew on the planes, visited the island, walked into Manhattan townhouse, or appeared in flight logs, calendars, and video stills. Social media turned it into an obsession. Mainstream media treaded carefully, but everyone, from reporters to Redditors, believed that somewhere a list existed. Then, on July 7, 2025, the Department of Justice, inexplicably and out of nowhere, said otherwise. The statement was brief and clinical, and it read, "After exhaustive review of sealed and unsealed materials related to the Epstein investigation, no document or record constituting a definitive client list has been located. While many prominent individuals had non-criminal associations with Mr. Epstein, no prosecutable evidence has been found implicating them in criminal acts. As such, the department considers this case closed." 4 sentences, no press conference, no Q&A, just, it's over, it's ended. Not surprisingly, the internet erupted. Within hours, hashtag where's the list trended on every platform. TikTok was flooded with explainer videos, accusations, and theories. Independent journalists posted years of research logs, redacted files, and old court exhibits. Prominent figures, some previously neutral, called the statement a whitewash. And survivors? Many of them said they were not consulted. Some said they were devastated. Others weren't surprised at all, because in their words, it was never about justice. It was about protecting the powerful. What was actually reviewed? DOJ officials later clarified that the list people believed in was largely a myth. Flight logs showed passengers but not crimes. Visitor logs existed but weren't evidence of wrongdoing. Many sealed documents were administrative or duplicative. Materials seized from Epstein's properties, including hard drives, had been heavily encrypted or damaged. But that explanation didn't satisfy many, including me, because over the years we've seen descriptions of surveillance systems in Epstein's homes, testimony from household staff who claim they were told never to look certain guests in the eye, sealed deposition transcripts never fully released, hints from prosecutors that Epstein might have cooperated if he'd gone to trial. And now, that trial obviously will never happen. And the file's closed. That's it. And we're all just supposed to accept that. In the absence of transparency, conspiracy thrives and grows. Dozens of fake client lists have circulated online. Some are obvious hoaxes. Others are doctored versions of flight logs. Some contain real names with no context. This flood of disinformation has done two things. It's diluted legitimate questions about systemic failure, and it's clouded survivor stories behind a haze of celebrity gossip and online hysteria. And maybe that's the real tragedy, that in the rush to find a smoking gun, the quiet truth got buried. Some mysteries end with answers, others end with whispers, others end with more questions. The Jeffrey Epstein story ended with a bang, and then nothing. No trial, no testimony, no answers that satisfied, just a blank space, a crater left behind by a man whose name became shorthand for everything wrong with wealth, power, and injustice in the 21st century. Epstein's case wasn't just about him. It exposed fractures in the justice system, federal oversight, elite media, academia, philanthropy, and even intelligence communities. Some ask how one man managed to move undetected for so long, but the better question may be, who chose not to see him? When prosecutors declined charges, when banks moved his money, when universities took his donations, when media buried or downplayed coverage, when names were redacted, lost, or reviewed but not actionable. Those weren't accidents. Those were decisions, and each one left a door closed behind it. In the years since Epstein's death, dozens of survivors have come forward, some publicly, others through sealed testimony. Their stories don't always match in detail, but they share a consistent pattern: exploitation, isolation, threats, and a powerful man who acted like he'd never face consequence. Some of those women have gone on to build foundations. Others live quiet lives out of the spotlight. But almost all of them say the same thing: we were never the priority. Even after the headlines faded, after Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction, apparently of no crime and trafficking no people to no client list, oddly enough, and then after the DOJ's final statement, the pain, the betrayal, and the erasure remained. For them, the no list wasn't a surprise, it was confirmation. There may never be another document dump, no last-minute whistleblower, no shocking confession. But Epstein's legacy isn't just a cold case, it's a mirror. How do we treat the powerful? Who gets protection and who gets silenced? And when systems fail this completely, can we trust them again? Because this wasn't a conspiracy about aliens or secret bunkers. It happened in courts, boardrooms, and gated estates. In plain sight, on planes, on islands, in rooms full of people who could have stopped it and didn't. Jeffrey Epstein may be gone, but the world he helped reveal, a world of shadows, secrets, and selective silence, still shapes the one we live in now. The case is closed, the list is denied, but the questions, they never really went away and likely never will. This is the Midnight Mystery Archive. Reminder, new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Stay tuned for more.